Hi, I'm Dr. Bertice Berry, and I want to tell you a story. I'm going to go deep. And if you're not a deep thinker and you know who you are, then just keep scrolling. On Saturday, I was ordained into the Sacred Order of Deacons in the Episcopal Church. It's a big deal. It's a very big deal. My rector, Michael, was the preacher. Now, you get to ask, if you're the only one being ordained, you get to select who you'd like to preach. And I was certainly wanting him to do it for many, many reasons. But when he preached, I didn't know that I would need all of those reasons as well. And I know who he is. I know how he walks. I know he walks the walk. He talks the talk. He lives the life of love, justice, mercy. That's who he is. And it was powerful. And at one point in the sermon, he said there were certain things that don't always sit well with him. And one of them was in an ordination like this, that, there's the word obey. Will you obey the bishop? And he said when he was a 25-year-old white boy, that was the perfect word for him. He said, but for a 63-year-old black woman, it is not the perfect word. And, you could hear all the black people like, and it was like he named the thing out loud. There is a space, my nephew Jaman pointed out, between change and evolution. There's a space between the realization of what needs to be fixed and actually fixing it. There's a space, and if you can hold that space until that change happens, if you can maintain that thing until the change happens, then you not only change for you, but you've changed for everybody around you. And it's done seamlessly without any, rancor or misunderstanding or hatred or vitriol. That change happens, and people are ready to argue about the next change. But that change is a progress. And so when my nephew said that to me, I was like, oh yeah. And what was interesting for me was that even though because Michael named that thing, it can be more obvious to people that the word obey for me in that context did not hold the past stuff, because one of the other things that a deacon is called to do is interpret the needs of the world to the church. We're the only one with that calling, to interpret the needs of the world to the church. And there are instances where they're wrong. And even before ordination, I've been able to say those things out loud to folks to hear them, for them to say, let's work on changing this now. Now, someone would think you're not obeying, but absolutely I am obeying, because my calling is to interpret the needs of the world to the church. And if we get them wrong, I have to say something, or I'm not doing what I was called to do. Sometimes in your life, you're going to be called to do some things that don't sit well with the institution, organization, job, university, where you are. You're going to be called to make the change. It looks like you're going against, but you're actually going for. In my work, wherever I go, when I require that when I see that people need to change to be able to be successful in the future, and I have to call them to change now, I remind them of who they said they were. I use their own mission statement to say, this is who you said you are, and I'm calling you to be that. I have no problem with that word, because for me to obey, it requires that I tell you that you seek justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with God. Baby. The other thing Michael said was, don't be what everybody else is. Be you, because he knows that that's what I've been called for. I love you. Go deep into your own calling.